Did you ever wonder why you just weren't interested in sex like you used to be? Like something might be broken down there. It might even make you worry that you aren't as attracted to your partner anymore. Your desire for sex might be so low that it feels like it's almost non existent. And what makes it even harder for some people is when their partner would have sex all of the time, but you just aren't feeling it. Well, if that sounds like you, hang tight. We've got you covered in this episode. Are you ready to cut through the BS and get down to the truth about sex and love? Welcome to the Great Sex Podcast. I'm Dr. Heather England, a certified sex therapist and relationship expert. Join me for candid conversations that address what you truly want to know and answer your burning questions. I want to empower you to ignite your sex and love life. Today, we're going to talk about why you aren't interested in sex, because this is super common. In fact, it's one of the biggest reasons that women seek sex therapy. Now, I know I talked about this with my son Cooper in the last episode when we answered a viewer question. So today's episode is going to be different because I'm going to dig deeper into the reasons why you might have lower interest in sex. So it's really normal to have ups and downs in your relationship in terms of your sexual intimacy. You might have some dry spells. You might have some times where you're having a lot of sex. But if you find that you're really not having a lot of sex, if your frequency is monthly or less than monthly, then you might need to explore what's going on with your interest. As women age, it is really common for our desire to decrease. And the research shows that around the age of 45, we start to have less desire for sex. And then when we go through menopause, some things happen in our bodies and with our hormones that really can tank our desire. There are things you can do about it when you go through menopause, but in general, as you find your interest in sex waning, there can be specific reasons for that. And then there can be things you can do to help increase your interest. So I want to dig into these and share them with you. So if you find yourself not having as much interest in sex, the first thing I would say is ask yourself, what's changed for you during the period when you were really interested in sex and now? So think about what might have changed. I'm going to hit you with some questions, kind of rapid fire. Did you start a new medication? Did you go through menopause? Did your body image change? Did your sex get harder or less satisfying? Did your partner start having their own troubles with sex? Did you start feeling disconnected from your partner? So all of these are potential causes for a decreased interest in sex. So let's talk about some of the main causes for low desire. The first is relationship problems. How are you and your partner doing? Are you feeling attracted to them? Do you need to do some work to strengthen your relationship? Relationship problems can really be a huge source of low sexual desire for people. You have to want to have sex with your partner. And if they are doing things that irritate you or you feel disconnected from them and you're feeling like roommates and you just don't feel that kind of attraction to them, then that's going to directly impact whether or not you want to have sex. So if you find this going on for you, I might encourage you to say, what do I need to do to improve my relationship to feel more attracted to my partner? You might need to go to couples counseling. You might need to have an honest conversation with your partner. You might need to start doing more things together. Sometimes, as life goes on for us, we can find ourselves doing things separate from our partner. We can almost start living kind of separate lives, like we're in parallel and we're not as together. And life can get so busy. We can be busy with work and kids and friends and so many activities that we really lose our touch with one another. So, doing things together is super helpful, like date night, for example. Another big cause for low interest in sex is if you're having bad sex or painful sex. So, ask yourself, do you think your sex is good? Right? Like, who initiates and how do they initiate? Do you like how you're initiating sex or how your partner is? Do you do the same thing every single time? Because, that gets really monotonous and kind of boring. And who really is going to have interest in doing something that's boring? Right. So, is sex fun or is it a chore for you? If sex is a chore, well, you're not going to want to have sex. Is your sex satisfying to you when you have it? Are you getting your needs met sexually? Can you orgasm, or is that something that's difficult for you? Does your partner touch you, or do they move straight to intercourse, just focused on their own orgasm? And finally, if sex is painful for you, you're going to not want to have sex, right? Because who wants to do something that's painful? So that is a natural reason why you might not be as interested in sex. So if any of these questions are true for you, then I would say you might need to reevaluate how you're having sex. Are you talking with your partner about it? What do you need to do to change your actual sex so that it's more interesting for you, so that it's more exciting for you? You might need to add some variety and some spice to it. And if your sex is painful, I would really encourage you to talk to your doctor about it because no sex should be painful. And if there's reasons for your pain, your doctor can help you address them. And if there's no medical cause for your pain, then you might need to see a sex therapist because sometimes we can have something called vaginismus. We can have spasms. We can have anxiety about sex that causes us to have painful sex, but no one should have to endure painful sex. It might be something as simple as using more lube. So if your sex is painful, that's a warning sign and it's something you need to do something about. Another cause for low desire is certain medications. So many antidepressants, particularly a type that we called an SSRI or a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, that's a big word, has a really awful side effect of killing your sexual desire. In fact, some of them even inhibit your ability to have an orgasm. Some birth control pills can do this too. So, if you find that you've started a new medication and you're finding your interest in sex has gone down, that actually might be due to the medication. And that, again, is something you might want to talk about with your doctor. Another huge desire killer is fatigue. So, whether you're caring for children or aging parents, or you just have a hectic week, if you're exhausted, you are not going to want to have sex. And when do we typically have sex? At night. So maybe having nighttime sex is really not in the cards for you. Maybe if you just change up when you have sex, you'll be more interested in it. What about morning sex or what about afternoon sex? I really prefer afternoon to early evening sex because honestly, if I try to have sex at 10 o'clock at night, no dice. It is not going to happen. I am so not interested. All I want to do is go to sleep and don't get in my way. So, hormone changes can really impact your desire for sex, and they can be due to a new birth control pill or to menopause. So, when we go through menopause, our estrogen goes down, and that can really impact our interest in sex. During menopause, we also have physical changes in our body that can make us not be as into sex or can make sex a little more uncomfortable. Our vaginal tissue thins out and it dries out. So sex can become more painful as we go through menopause. But again, there are things you can do during menopause to help lube you up more. And I don't mean just over the counter lube. There are specific prescriptions that your doctor can give you that can help you to be wetter down there. And it can help make sex more comfortable for both of you. All right. So if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, that can also kill your desire. There's so many hormone changes during pregnancy and when you're breastfeeding, and that can really impact your libido. Plus, you've got changes in your body image and you're exhausted and you're challenged with taking care of a new baby. So all of those can put you in a place where, hey, no way, not interested in sex today. And when you're caring for young children, honestly, you can be so touched out. What young mother doesn't have their children clinging to them all day long? You can't even go to the bathroom by yourself most of the time. So often, the last thing you want is for your partner to touch you. Many mental health concerns really play a role in low desire, anxiety, depression, all of those. They can really impact whether or not you want to have sex. Stress, either from work or challenges at home, or anxiety caused by poor body image or low self esteem, or if you've had any kind of sexual trauma in your past, all of those can really impact your interest in sex. And then a final reason I want to cover is just physical illnesses. If you've got any kind of chronic illness like diabetes or arthritis or cancer, all of those can negatively impact your interest in sex. So, I've really just touched on some of the main reasons why most people experience low desire, but everyone's different. And one of these reasons may really resonate for you, whereas for someone else, they might be dealing with multiple reasons. So, the first part about making any change in your life is being motivated to change. So, if you're motivated to change your sex life, then that's great. Next is insight about what you really need to change. So, identifying the reasons for your low desire is really important if you want to change it. So, why do you think you have low desire? Think about the reasons I've listed and what resonated for you. And then think about what you can do about it. Can you make some of the changes in your life that address the causes for your low desire? Do you need help addressing them? Is this an issue that's just a you issue, or is it a couple's issue? So, some things you might be able to resolve with your partner, but some things you might actually need to seek out a sex therapist or a relationship counselor. And if your relationship needs strengthening or it's a source of unhappiness or pain for you, then I encourage you to consider going to couples counseling and talking directly with your partner about it. And if your partner won't go to counseling with you, gosh, I'm so sorry because I know that's really, really difficult when you want to change your relationship and your partner won't participate in counseling. And what I tell my clients in that situation is you can't change your partner. Only they can change themselves. The one thing you can influence is you. You are the only person you can change. So I would say work on being the best version of yourself and finding as much joy in your life and hope that that inspires your partner to change. So, we talked about a lot of reasons why you might have a lowered interest in sex today. And I hope you were able to listen and hear yourself in my comments and find some reasons that made sense to you about why your interest in sex might be lower. And if you're in one of those dry spells, hey, it's okay. I encourage you to be gentle with yourself, be kind, and understand that life has its ups and downs and sex has its ups and downs. And so maybe you've heard some things today that will help you to get out of that dry spell and have more interest in sex if that's something that appeals to you. Again, it's your choice and it's your life, and you get to decide what type of love and sex life you have. And there is no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong on what your sex life looks like compared to somebody else, or how often you're having sex versus somebody else. I would say just be you. So thanks for listening today. And if you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss future episodes. And if you think you want some ways to add some spice to your sex life, check out my free resource, 69 Ways to Add Spice to Your Sex Life at lovefilledlife.com/69 ways. And 69 is the number, it's not spelled out. Again, lovefilledlife.com/69 ways. And until next time, remember, life is too short for bad sex. Thanks for listening.